guys. So we got a beer cooler here. Doesn't feel like it's not running. Condenser fan's running. Compressor's out on overload. It's steaming hot. So go ahead and pull our disconnect. Let's get this done. So compressor terminals look alright. Nothing burnt up or anything too crazy. See if I can get on this overload. It's closed now. So it was open when I got here. The compressor wasn't running. Connections look pretty good and tight. We got our start relay and start components inside here, so let's start with that. Check our capacitors and see how our start components are. We probably got one failed, and as usual we'll probably change all of them. So everything else looks tight and nothing burnt up or crazy in here either. Condenser's a little bit dirty, but I can't see light through it. It's not awful, and the fan motor was running, so capacitor doesn't look blown or anything, but it's steaming hot too. The run capacitor is not. So I'm gonna suspect we got an issue with this start cap. Let's see what we get. It's reading weak, so it's got 62. This is a 79, so it's reading weak. Could have something going on with that relay as well. Let's check our other cap, and then we'll dig into everything else. So got a 15 here. I'm getting about 15 out of that one, so that's okay. It's a Tecumseh compressor. Tecumseh, whatever. See if I can't get any information off this. This seems kind of low at 79. It just seems a little low. Typically they're bigger than that, but let's see what we got. Alright, so we got our new start components in. I had to solder the resistor onto that capacitor. So we're ready to start this thing back up. I did find loose wire on the common side of that start capacitor. So compressor ohmed out okay. We're still gonna cross our fingers on this one because that compressor might be locked up. I have no way of really telling until we turn this thing back on. Did ohm out okay. Had some ice on top of it, so it's nice and cool now. Just plug it back in, see what happens. That compressor's got an issue somewhere. It tried to start. Saw a little spark back in there. I'm not sure what that was from, but sure looks like it's locked up. That's what we were hoping to get around. So this is a glycol. It's a remote cooler for a glycol unit down below. They had their beer guys come look at the glycol unit, said the pumps were running, all that was good. We'll go down and check on it if we can ever get this thing going, but it sure looks like the compressor's going to be dead. So let me try a few more things and see what we can do. So she tried to start up. It sounded a little rough inside that compressor. I tried tapping on it, and we just went to locked rotor and tripped the breaker. So we got a bad compressor. I did speak to the customer and let them know, you know, what the deal was. I had to cool it off and change that start components to see if it was going to start, because it did ohm out okay, but obviously we've got some internal issues with this compressor. You can see it's had a little work done, like somebody's had channel locks on that. That is a beautiful solder joint there. It does have refrigerant in it. I did check that as well. So we're gonna let them know what they got and see what they want to do. If they want cold beer, we're gonna have to have a compressor or a new condensing unit. So we're just giving everything a once over before we go doing anything, because this is R22 refrigerant. Something's caused that compressor to die. So solenoid's energized. This is an old unit. Doesn't look like any of the gauges are working. You have to find the model number, but there's glycol solution in there. You can see it's got some age to it. So we're gathering all the information. We're gonna let the customer know. Looks like they got a new one here at some point, and this one's had a lot of work over the years. So might be that expansion valve right there that's our issue. That's what I hate, to throw a compressor at something and then find out what killed it. So let's get our models and serial numbers and get with them and let them know what they got. So we're back. This guy's gonna get replaced today. So I've got a new condensing unit. We're gonna reuse the doghouse and a new TXV. We're gonna do what we can. It's not gonna be beautiful, but see what we can figure out here. Get all this stuff tore apart and recovered and all that good stuff. We're gonna go with 404A and see how this goes. I'll see how much video I get. At least get the start up for you. So we got her set in place. Everything piped in, nice and straight. Wet rag on. Ready to go braze this guy in. Nitrogen set up to purge. like we got all our braze joints. Still purging. We'll clean everything up and spray some bubbles. Verify we don't have no leaks. And then we're gonna go down and do the TXV. Alright, so not leaking. Set it about 120. No leaks on my braze joints. So we're holding right now. We're gonna go down and get the TXV brazed in, and then we'll come get this guy on a vacuum and start cleaning up at that point. And then we'll do all the wiring and all that crap while we're on a vacuum. So got our valve brazed in. Heat block kept it nice and cool. A little warm, but not too bad. We're start pulling a vacuum. Look at our bulb mounted. We're gonna get some Armaflex. We'll seal everything back up and try to get them up and running first before we go do any of that cleanup, because the beer's 69 degrees. You can't have that. So we gotta have cold beer. So let's keep on moving. All right, so we got the vacuum just about ready. Holding 150 psi. That looks good to me. Checked all my joints downstairs. We ain't got no leaks on this guy, so we're gonna get everything ready to go. I did take off the old seal tight. Got a new seal tight to go on there because it was all cracked and corroded. So we're gonna have to go get some new Armaflex, but I'll do that last after I get this thing running so they can have some cold beer. All right, so we're back, isolated here, 389 microns, so we're good there. We're gonna let it pull for a little longer. I still got to get everything wired in. I had to run and get a low pressure control. The other one, cap tube was twisted, and I don't want to use an old pressure switch, so we'll get all that wired in. And I've got a fan cycle control as well. Just a little 1/4-inch screw-on type fan cycle. So we're gonna get all that done. Mount our TXV bulb, and then we'll start this guy up. All right, so we're hooked up everywhere. Got measure quick hooked up. Fan cycle, low pressure, all in place. Go back and secure everything real well, and have to seal up that line a little better. But let's plug the disconnect in and cross our fingers. See what happens. That's about right for my low pressure. Or my low pressure, I meant my fan cycle switch. Bubbling a little bit. We'll let it run for a little bit and see what happens. that gets us. Let everything equalize out. We'll adjust the expansion valve if we need to. So we are in a hot pull down. We're gonna let everything equalize for a little while. See, I'm still at 69 degrees. So everything looks okay so far. We'll see where we're at once we come down to temp. So we're back this morning. I let it run overnight. The hot pull down was really affecting my pressures and temperatures, so I wanted to see where I was today. Right now I've got it pumped down. It's kicked off about 5 psi. Sight glass was bubbling a little bit. We had a little bit of ice build up here. I'll show a screenshot of where I ended up last night. I got my superheat adjusted correctly, but the hot pull down was affecting my head pressure. Plus it was 100 degrees up here on the roof. In the 70 degree water I was trying to cool was affecting everything. So we're gonna clear our sight glass, see if we can get any subcooling out of this thing. So let's open our valve back up. Sitting about 34 degrees right now. Set point is 29. Clear sight glass first. Again, we got no subcooling right now. Superheat's reasonable. Everything else went pretty good, but I was out here till about 7 o'clock trying to get the temperature to come down, and it was dropping. It was just dropping slow. I had no subcooling last night, but my head pressure was through the roof. It was about normal for, I was running about 125 or so saturated temperature. You can see we're getting a little bit of subcooling now. I think we're going to be all right once we clear this sight glass. We are going to verify our glycol temperature as well. Make sure that thermostat's reading correctly. That's the other thing I wasn't sure about last night. We're going slow because we are putting in the suction line. We may have to adjust our valve again. Starting to fill up there. sight glass cleared. We're gonna leave it at that for right now. It was pretty low. I put 3 pounds in it. So we're gonna watch it. I was concerned last night because my superheat was high enough. My amp draw was up on the compressor just because of the hot pull down. So I adjusted lower than I needed to be, obviously. And now that I'm down to temp, so we're gonna go adjust our valve a little bit, get that superheat around 10, and then see where we're at from there. So we went back in with our valve a little bit. So 10 degrees superheat, we got some subcooling now. Head pressure up a little bit, but it's warm outside again, so I'm not terribly concerned about these readings. Looks pretty good. Glycol temp, 34. I'm reading 33. So we're pretty close. Thermostat's pretty damn close. We're just gonna watch it for a little while. We'll watch that temp come down. Set point's 29, so we're gonna watch until we get to that temp, and just make sure we look good. Everything looks good right now. So 10 degrees superheat, that's what I wanted to make sure, because I adjusted that valve out. I was concerned we might go out on overload on the compressor. We'll get a compressor amp draw again and just continue to monitor, but this looks pretty good for now. Our compressor amps are much better. I think the compressor's rated at 6.8. I was around 7.8 yesterday during my hot pull down, so we're at 6.4 now. I'm happy with that. I might make a few more adjustments to that superheat, just down to about 10, but I'm pretty happy with everything. So let's go ahead and pump it down one more time. Even 11 or 12, I may be picking up some superheat from the line set. It runs through a warm space, so. I had a valve closed. So again, about 6. I'll try this at home. So my liquid level is about half. Right about there. Sight glass is up here on the roof, so we might add a little bit more and just get that up to about 3/4 or so. So about a 19 degree evaporator, 13 degree superheat. I'm gonna call it good at this point. It's too dark in here, hard to get you guys to see. So just rule of thumb, 20 degree evaporator, we're looking for about 10 degrees, and I'm running about 30 to 32 degrees on my fluid temperature, so that I'm right in the ballpark on everything. So Marked it 404A, 5 pounds. Marked our liquid level. So here's what I'm seeing. My TXV's back to hunting. So beer guys said everything on their end was good, but I have a feeling they didn't check the glycol, and I think we're low on glycol. I don't know how well you all can see, but that is my evaporator, those copper tubes there, and they're freezing up. I shouldn't be able to freeze that up because it's got a good amount of glycol in it. It doesn't feel like it's got a whole lot, maybe a little bit, but we're gonna have to check this, see if I can, usually the beer guys, but see if I can find something to do so, or if they want to let the beer guys do it. But I got a glycol issue too. Everything was perfect until it rained for a little while, and then once it started freezing up, my expansion valve starts hunting, and something just looked off. So let's see what we can do. So I was hoping to have a much better answer at this point, but they're gonna let their beer guy deal with the glycol. I let them know I've adjusted the thermostat temperature up some right now, so we're sitting about 36 degrees, 3-degree differential. We'll run down to about that 33 mark because that's all I've been able to maintain. And then the evaporator just starts freezing up. So it's obviously the glycol's broke down, or it doesn't have enough glycol in it. So that's their expertise. I'll let them deal with it. If they call us to come back and adjust back, I'll get back on here and check all my superheat readings again. I know I'm close until I start freezing up, and then it starts hunting. So I'm pretty close on that. If we come back to do the rest, we'll get some on video. Let me know what y'all think. We're cycling on low pressure right now, so leave me a comment. See y'all on the next one.